Many people have come to walk through my halls over the years. They cluck their tongues at my general state of disrepair. They discuss my size. They dream of updates. Then they talk of all the money it would take. They don't ever come back. So I wasn't expecting two vehicles to trundle partway up my driveway and expel six differently sized humans. At first, in my half dozing, dusty haze, I thought they were merely lost tourists searching for a good place in which to turn their horseless carriages around. But then the small girl child, are they still called children in this day and age? Grabbed a bag of some sort and began to make her way along the path. They were coming to me, to stay in me. Could this be true? After all of these years? Yes! Here they all come, chattering and carrying boxes and bags onto the porch. One of them produces a key from her pants and unlocks my front door. Now they and their things crowd my front hall. Voices echo silently against my window panes. I am no longer alone. I look down the drive as my new humans gather more of their things to fill my rooms, and I feel happiness spread across my shingles. Then I look further across the lake and begin to wonder how long it will be before it notices them. Chapter 2. Our parents had gone to great lengths to make sure that we weren't worried about the new house. They told us how big it was. They told us how many bathrooms it has. 4. Very important when we all get together. They told us all about the many great places to curl up on rainy or lazy days. What they didn't tell us was that our huge house was the creepiest on the shore. That all 4 of the rooms us kids would be inhabiting were in the attic, in a weird old nursery setup, or the fact that our house was the only one on our side of the lake with a huge wooded lot. It must have slipped their minds as well, and it totally did nothing to help disperse the creep factor of the place at all. Isn't this place awesome? My mom practically crowed at us as soon as we hit the front hallway. My mother, a curious mixture of old woman and overgrown teenager wrapped in a 33-year-old's body, was performing a complicated victory dance through the front of the house. Cautiously skirting around stacks of our abandoned boxes and bags, we kids followed her through our new home, all decidedly less thrilled with the idea of our summer being spent in such gloom. Mom didn't notice any of our grimaces or groans as the 3 of us shuffled behind her happy humming form. Up one flight of creaky steps, across the length of the house, and up one more flight we went, ending up under the peeling light blue paint of slanted ceilings. This was to be our domain, my brother's, my cousin's, and mine. The attic had obviously been constructed for the enjoyment of a younger generation. Immediately upon hitting the top step, we could see the end of the landing. The hall opened up into a higher peaked ceiling, seated bow windows, and a large dusty dollhouse identical to the home in which we stood. More ancient dust coated wooden toys that were scattered here and there on shelves and even across the floor, as though they were waiting for someone to come home and pick up in their game. To the left of the steep attic staircase, on the other side of the square balustrade, was a long hall lined with 3 doors and ending with a short door set into the outer facing wall. "That's your bathroom down there," Mom announced with a wave of her arm that was much too grandiose for the sad, dingy light filtering through the dirty window panes and dust mites dancing in low wattage. "And these," she declared with yet another flourish worthy of a daytime game show model, "are your bedrooms." Scurrying down the narrow walk, Mother threw open the first door nearest to us, and then, skipping the heavy dark wooden door to the central room, bopped her way down to open door number 3. Seeing the very real joy and excitement plastered all over my mother's face as she paused dramatically to await our response, Susan, Jack, and I exchanged furtive glances and quickly attempted to erase the abject terror from our faces. It was Susan who spoke up first. "Aunt Karen," she started cautiously. We could almost see her pulling that excited pip girl persona on like a costume that most teen girls seem to come equipped with. "These rooms are so cute." Mother's face settled into a much calmer happy at the word cute, making me wonder if maybe she had been play acting a little for our benefit. I didn't have much time to contemplate this idea, however, because Mom ushered Susan through the first doorway into an obviously classic girl room, and then turned to beckon Jack and myself forward. "This is your room, boys." Her too bright smile was flashing again as she insistently motioned us away from the relative safety of the landing and shooed us into the room that we would, apparently, be sharing for the next 10 weeks or so. It looked like a compost heap had thrown up. The walls were a decaying olive color, chipping in random areas and trimmed with a dull dark brown that was an echo of the scarred furniture. Everything was so thickly coated with layer upon layer of fine dust that even the sharpest edges seemed fuzzy and distorted, like the white noise that pops up on late night television. I know, Mom sighed. We didn't think to hire cleaners, and this room seems to have gotten the worst of it. We'll have to check the sills on your windows, but all of this will clean up quickly once we hit it with the rags. You'll see. So, is that my room? Jack jerked his head toward a door that I hadn't even noticed set into our inside wall. Oh, that. Well, no, son. Mom seemed to grow agitated at Jack's simple question, but was finally goaded into moving from where she stood, positioned in the hall door in order to thwart any escape plans that we might have come up with. Making her way across to Jack's side, Mom reached out to jiggle the antique oval glass handle, presumably in an attempt to prove its immovable quality. She gasped and took a shocked step backwards, however, as the door easily swung away to reveal a ghostly shimmer of fabric-covered furniture lying in filtered afternoon sunbeams. But it was locked, my mother kept mumbling to herself. Stuck and locked, and the landlady said they hadn't ever been able to get it open. Before I could ask what she was talking about, a heavy tapestry hanging on the wall across from us began to twitch, then to erratically wave across the wall, all the while emitting the most horrendous scratchings and screechings that you could possibly imagine. It's probably just the breeze, Mom said quietly, putting a hand on each of our shoulders and pulling us back a step to firmly place all three of us back into our own room. Or a lake crab found its way up here and got stuck, Jack suggested with a wavering tone of voice and a nervous laugh as the tapestry seemed to double its efforts at learning to fly. We did not stick around to find out what it actually was.